What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. I am your host. I am your award-winning, Netflix officially award-winning host, Mark Wahlberg, and I'm here with my producer and friend, Kaylin. Good morning, Kaylin.
Hello, Mark. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. I don't know why that's always funny to me. You always answer with trepidation. I'm good. Like, what the fuck, dude? Why are you stepping to me?
I was struggling a little bit today because I got into the studio and they took the cameras out of the studio.
Yeah.
I went, oh, fuck, we can't record. And then luckily I found a backup camera, but only one, so you're not going to be able to see me today.
That's a loss. I get to see you. It's a loss for our audience.
Yeah.
But I can describe him for you if you'd like. He's boyishly charming, with a beard, and with a propensity to blush when you mention his name. It's a cute thing. All right, enough with the bromance. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Got some things to talk about. I want to work some stuff out with you. Kaylin, I'm 1 week away from going to Hawaii to tape the next season of Netflix's smash hit, Temptation Island.
Oh, really? I thought it wasn't until September.
Well, we start, I leave August 20th, and we start end of August through mid-September doing the show.
All right.
Ask me how much of this season's content and cast and briefing I've had.
I'm sure a whole bunch.
0. The Reddit posters know more than I do at this point. But that's okay. I kind of dig it that way. But I have actually spent more time preparing for it this year than I have ever in the past. I've spent some time kind of settling down and thinking about how can I best be of service to this season.
I was going to ask, what does preparation look like for hosting Temptation Island?
Well, given the preparation you've seen me do for this podcast, basically getting out of bed and showing up is 90% of my prep regimen. You know, I don't normally do any prep other than physical prep. Like I got to get a haircut and I got to, maybe lose some weight or whatever I'm going to do leading up to taping. And I rarely do any even thinking about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to talk about or what is, how that's going to go down. This year, however, I've been, it goes back to this. Last week, I was invited by Brooke Berry, shout out Brooke Berry, to the Snapchat corporate offices.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I was brought in. I met her at the Netflix event. She's like, you should be doing Snapchat. I'm like, yeah, I have it. I don't do it. And she said, come by the office. We'll hook you up. And so they did. But it basically was like I sat there. It was like a classroom. It's like being at the Genius Bar at the Apple Store. And Brooke was being kind to me, like, here's how you open the app. And here's how you. And then the first 3 posts I did had no sound. So I may have flunked the whole tutorial. But for those of you who follow me on social media, I'm now a Snapchat star. I'm like all over it now, posting all the time. Inane, stupid shit, but consistently. The point is, I've had several conversations this week. I'm trying to, kind of step on my game a little bit. So I met with a publicist. I met with a social media manager. I met with some brand people. And it has caused me, Kaylin and friends, to kind of think about, like, what do I say on the show? What is the brand? What is the thing that people seems to resonate with the audience and not? And I don't want to get too much in the head about it, but I thought it would be worth our podcast time. I always want there to be some takeaway. And so I thought it might be fun to just talk about what my basic philosophy about relationships is. And I've said many of these things here before in many different ways, but just to kind of like focus my energy on being of service the most I can be to this new cast who I've yet to meet, but already love. If you're already selected, know that I love you, even though we haven't met. Because I think there are some basic, as I've looked back over the past season, I think there's some basic things that I have kind of coached to, I guess is the best way to say it, that really seem commonsensical to me, but are often like, like mind-blowing to people who have done very little work on their emotional intelligence journey. So let's jump in. Here's the first thing that I always say to everybody on the show, and I'm saying it to you. I'm using you guys right now, and hopefully your comments will help guide me to see, what your take is on my take. So the first thing I say to the people when they come to the island is, you come here with issues. You're in a relationship where 90%, 80%, 70% of it works, and you maybe sexually, maybe there's emotional stuff that's great, but there's some part of it that's not working enough that you've come here. Granted, probably being on TV is a big reason why you come here. I tell them that too. But now that you're here, let's might as well roll up our sleeves and get to it. So, and you all say that we have questions about our relationship that we want answers for. And my response every season is, you're going to get answers to your questions, but all of the questions will change. You will change. If things go the way I hope they go, and with my input, hopefully that helps drive that bus a little bit, the experience, even as short as it is, and as manufactured as it is, as fake as it is because it's TV, will change you. Sometimes so much that when you show up to the final bonfire, you don't even look physically the same. This is something I've noticed in some of the work that I've done in different workshops, that you'll go in for a weekend to do these workshops. And literally you take a picture of you on Friday and take a picture of you on Monday, and you don't look the same. You physically morph from, aliveness, new distinctions about things about yourself, taking off the weight of the backpack of all your baggage, even if for a short time. And so I think the process of Temptation Island offers that for a lot of people. So first thing I say is, you've got questions. I promise you're going to get answers. They're not going to be to your questions. They'll be answers to questions you didn't even know to ask. The second thing I notice almost 100% of the time, and I'm guilty of this too, I think you too, Kaylin, come in and out of this, is that when we talk about problems in a relationship, we talk about the problem with the other person. What's not working in this relationship is because she's not da-da-da-da-da, or I need this and he's not providing, right?
Yeah.
Basic.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong. By the way, you're not wrong. So I don't want from any moment do you think that I'm discarding your feelings. In fact, the behavior of other people affects us greatly. We live in that more than we should in a healthy life, right? So what do I do about that? I allow that exercise to happen for the first few minutes or days when I'm meeting these people on the show, that the complaints you're having in your relationship are about the other person, and you bring them here hoping that they might change, right? And then this will work out. Everything's okay.
Butt dial?
Yeah, just nothing important. I don't even know why I look anymore. Anyway, back to this. So you come in with an expectation that we're going to be single again. I'm going to explore what that feels like. That'll give me some clarity on how I feel about the person, and hopefully they're going to change so that when I see them again, they'll be the thing I needed them to be that wasn't working for me. And my answer to that is, you're not wrong, but you have no control over that. There's nothing you're going to ever do to change how they're being. And more importantly, and this I think is the biggest nugget that I tend to lean on. The relationship you're in, you also created. So whatever's toxic about it, whatever they're doing to you or not doing for you, that is your complaint in the relationship, you actually have a role in. Subconsciously, consciously, unconsciously. And if you've hung out with me long enough, you know where I'm going to go with this, is that often there's a early childhood memory. There's the modeling of your parents and other love relationships when you were a kid that you were looking at, and that's what taught you how to have love. And there's trauma. And when I say trauma, I've said this before, Kaylin, I think you'll correct me if I haven't, but I think trauma is as deep and painful as it is for you. So when you compare it to somebody who's lived through like a hostage crisis, they were held captive or something like that, that ends up being a Netflix documentary, that's trauma. Yeah. I get it. But your feeling the way you feel is no less traumatic if it's traumatic. And what happens in pain in our life is that we don't want that pain anymore. Or we make a decision that that's what our life is supposed to be. And so two things come out of that. Now as we go through our life to have relationships, new relationships, we end up repeating relationships. And it shows up in two ways. One is we never go for the thing that we're afraid is going to hurt us again. So we deny a possibility for fear that it'll turn out like the last time. And both, we make a subconscious or conscious or unconscious decision about who we are and what we deserve that has us be okay with toxic relationships. Has us go, well, that's what it is. That's about as good as I'm going to get. So let's just mitigate the bad stuff as best we can and hope we have more good stuff than bad stuff. And that's what a love relationship is. And I call bullshit on that. And that's the hardest thing to break through. But it's like any breakthrough that seems like a wall is actually paper. It looks like a wall, but if you just punch it, you're through to the other side. You're like, oh my God, it was like not that deep. And so what I'm constantly saying on the show is, all right, step one is stop pointing the finger. If I used a Robbie cliche.
Robbieism.
A Robbieism that's from somewhere else. And we've all heard it. It's kind of dad jokish, but if there's a finger pointing at you, there's three pointing back at me. See that? Isn't that adorable? So, or my other one, she always says, if you meet more than 3 assholes in a day, you're one of them. Yeah. That's my favorite. So, and I've only met 2 today, so we're okay. So anyway, the first thing that I try, I kind of lost my train of thought, but the first thing I try to say as it relates to this stuff is that before you can really break through the repetition of traumatic or semi-toxic or toxic relationships, or even not so much toxic, but just mid, okay, is play a fantasy game. Play the fantasy game of fairy tale, of what if. And see if you can define, in fantasy, manifest, whatever new phrase you want to use behind this, what would a beautiful, perfect, loving relationship be? What would that look like? Don't even cast yourself in it, because your own bullshit and baggage will make it so that your brain can't even put you there. So make it some other princess or prince. And imagine, what does that look like? Like, what does coffee in the morning look like? What does it look like in an argument? What does it look like when you're scared? What does that, what if that person existed and that relationship existed, what would it look like to you? Wait, speaking of relationships.
Robbie?
Is she FaceTiming me? No. It's Robbie. Hold up thought. Hi, honey.
Honey, are you taping?
Yeah, you're live right now on the podcast.
Oh, hello, everyone.
They say hi back.
Give us a Robbieism.
No, call me when you're done, okay?
Well, is everything okay?
Oh, yeah, I just saw something on Instagram that I wanted to tell you before you go to your lunch.
Okay. Do you have like a Robbieism? I just dropped 2 Robbieisms on the podcast. One of them is, if you meet more than 3 assholes in a day, you're one of them. And the other one is, when you point your finger at someone else, 3 are pointing back at you.
Those are really, really good. I needed to hear those today. You know what? You know what my Robbieism is today?
I have no idea.
Take it easy. Easy does it today. Stay in today and have present moment awareness. All is well. In the moment, all is well. It's a beautiful day out, and of course, I'm talking to myself, but that's what I'm telling myself today. Easy does it. Keep it simple, stupid.
You are the shit. And next week is our anniversary.
And that keep it simple, stupid, the abbreviation for that is KISS.
I know you love those things. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. I was about to say you're the shit, and I love you. And next week on the 16th is our 38th anniversary.
It's sooner than that. It's coming sooner than that.
Well, the 16th. When is that?
Yes. Well, today's the 12th, 13, 14, 15, 16, 4 days.
Awesome. I'm prepared, by the way. I have everything set up for that. But I just want to let you know that I'm not going to wait till the 16th to tell you that I'm going to pick up your option for another year.
Oh. I'm going to pick up yours, too.
Great. I'll talk to you later. I'm very busy.
Call me before you go to
My lunch.
where you're going next. Okay. Love you.
Don't yell at me. I love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bringing the gems in real time off the dome for you via phone. Easy does it. Today. Go easy. Really, really strong. Isn't that strong?
Yeah, it's good.
Didn't it kind of right size you in the moment right there? It did for me.
Yeah.
So back to relationship. That was an example of kind of the good part of, you don't hear the bad shit. Literally 2 hours ago was not particularly fun conversation about our relationship and my role in it. But that's the thing about relationship, is that when you're creating that one, like I said, and you're defining a relationship, you have to give room for the fact that it's not always the beautiful rainbows and sunshine, but then define what does it look like for you in a perfect world, in a healthy relationship. When there is upset, how does that get processed? And how quickly does it get processed? Robbie being an example of where we were really upset this morning about whatever we were upset about, which is personal, and you can hear already that she's not dwelling on that. You know, it's part of our tapestry. Yes, these things need to fix, but all in all, I still love you, right? And
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. So step one is to realize that the questions will change and the answers will come. Step two is to realize that pointing fingers at the other person is not the answer. Step three is to define out loud on paper. This is a great journaling moment. What does that relationship look like, even if it's foreign to you, even if it's one from a movie? Just have an implant in your brain to change the neuro pathways a little bit and make a new synapse, which is that, like holding that. It's the same thing as a vision board. Now, how do you get that? I'm not sure. But I will tell you that paying attention to your language with the help of someone else is the path that works for me. And that's why often I'm on the show doing stuff that doesn't seem like a big deal to me, and then people respond with, oh my God, that was like amazing. I'm not telling you something. I'm repeating what you said to you. Because what you choose to say is telling about what you actually think, you know? And, you know, I think of Taylor last season where she said, you know, it's a fact, people leave me. Everyone leaves me. If I were me, I would leave me too. You know, it still stuck with me because it was, that one's so on the nose, but you hear it. But these are things that probably she has said out loud or thought in her head over and over again that she didn't even notice the weight of what it is until you say to them, you just said this is true and factual. I'm going to suggest it's not. It may have been up to this point, but now it's your choice. And that's the other part of this. The relationship you're in is a choice, and you chose it. And you can choose something else, which doesn't mean choose someone else. Doesn't mean choose someone else. It means choose something else. Meaning, we have this upset at this point in our relationship all the time about money, about sex, about power. I don't know what it is. About the past. you get to say, wait a minute, this is an area that's an upset for us. We crash out here. Why don't we choose a different way? Let's just choose a different way of communicating when we know we're heading down that red flag zone. And one of the tools that Robbie and I have used is moratorium. When you get heated and they get heated and you're in it and you're like trying to break it down, right? And you're now what do they call that? You're
projecting,
having a circle. The conversation in a circle. It just keeps. There's a phrase, I don't remember what it is, but you're in a circular conversation. You're just going back around, yeah, but. That's when one of you gets to say, hey, I love you, moratorium on this until tomorrow. Because constructive communication is awesome. But when you're under the umbrella of communicating, you're harping and repeating and blaming and not listening, but talking at one another, now you're just in a circle of fucking doom. And that's when you say, you know what? Let's take a breath, let's take a walk, and let's revisit this at a different time with the choice, back to the choice, of a different way of being in that conversation. And that comes from a conversation of what do you want? Do you want to be right? Or do you want to win? And I'm going to argue that being right is not as fun as it seems. Being right gets you only someone has to be wrong, and the person who's wrong needs to be right at some point, so you're going to have to be wrong. You can see what that does. And the phrase that my brother-in-law, not crazy butt dial Gary, but spiritual.
Acrobat?
He's the acrobat. Gary.
Oh, he's the acrobat.
Yeah, spiritual enlightenment, self-help guru, middle brother.
Order everything off the menu.
That's
there
the one.
Yeah.
The one who orders 7 appetizers and goes, hey, don't you want to taste it? That guy. He, I forgot what I was going to say that he said. I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway.
Being right isn't as
being
good
right
as it seems.
Isn't as good as it seems. That may have been what I was going to say. Oh, no, he gave me a phrase to use. When somebody comes at you, points out a flaw, makes a judgment, you know what you should do, or you did, and you get triggered. This is a great phrase. Thank you. I'll take a look at that. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot to you, but that to me was a tool in my toolkit to avoid the, oh yeah? Well, let me tell you. When they say, look, you're wrong because blah, 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 or you need to such and such, such and such. My gut says, oh, yeah? Well, you need to, and then we're in it, right? Mm-hmm. And even if it's bullshit, when I say, thank you, let me take a look at that, it gives them nothing to fight on. It gives them nothing to keep coming at me, gives me a way out of the conversation, and then actually I may have the inclination to actually take a look at that. Because once you get out of the in-your-faceness of an upset where somebody's called you out and then you get defensive and you're like, fuck you, and then the fuck you start going, right? Because they're there. If you can gracefully get out of that and then in your own time look at it without your ego taking over, you can actually take a look at it and go, wait a minute, is there some truth in that? Am I being that bully? Am I being that whatever I've been accused of? And that's where you have a possibility of change. That's what I'm getting back to on Temptation Island. So when you can step away from the defensive mode, when you're in each other's face, you have this time to be yourself, you have some time to reflect, and you can then, as Robbie says, take it easy enough, take the caustic aspect of the input you've received out of the conversation, and now you're going to get input from singles that you don't have triggers with, then you can take a look at not what he's done wrong, but what you can do differently, what choices you can make to be happier. As opposed to, and this is going to be foreign to some of you, the choice you're making right now to be unhappy on purpose. Let me say it again. The thing you're complaining about, the thing you're a victim of, the thing you wish you could change, you may have already made the choice to have that so that you can have the story of victim, upset. I wish this would change. Not, I am in a healthy relationship. You want to live in, I want to be in a healthy relationship. And the state of that is constantly wanting to be there, not there, right? So I'm going too far. I'm going to back it up. In relationship, stop pointing the finger. Stay on your side of the street. And then remove yourself from when you get into the defensive mode so that you can process the input, whatever input somebody's giving you about you, you can process that and actually maybe do something that most people never do. Look at it. Look at your own behavior and say, what is it about my behavior that I could adjust or isn't serving me that creates space for my partner or partner to be different. That's the mirror thing. You can't make them shift. You can't request a shift and it lasts for more than a week. When you say, I want you to drink less, and they go, you got it, they're going to drink less for a couple weeks, right? I want you to not yell at me. You got it. And for a couple weeks, they will work at not yelling at you. To affect actual change, to evolve a relationship, it's from within. Because what is kind of ethereal for many of you is that the relationship you're in is to some degree a movie that you have created. And when you can look at yourself and you look at behavior that, I don't want to say bad or good, let's just say propensities and behavior that you do repeatedly that you realize now isn't serving you for the goal that you've now identified, which isn't I want to be in a relationship. It is I am in a relationship that's healthy, right? The difference is I'm not living in the state of want. I'm living as though it is to create space for it to be, right? And in that shift, that little shift of thinking in your own relationship to you, okay, creates this gigantic space for partners to be safe in, to mirror your groundedness and centeredness, to then be that for you on the other side. It's the same thing I talk about with agreement of intimacy. When you open up and you're vulnerable and you show your soft parts and scary parts to the other person, their shoulders drop and they do the same thing. When you create space by looking at your own shit and redefining what's working for you and what isn't, and realizing you have a choice in that, and looking at the things that are blind to you, like the way you find them is the things you repeat. I'm a victim of it. Always happens. This always happens to me. You get to choose to be different there, and in doing so, that's how you create change in someone else. Okay? Does that make sense? Did any of that make sense to you, Caitlin?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, good. So that's, I mean, you can see why even the I was trying to talk to somebody on the golf course about this. I was playing golf yesterday with these two young dudes, and hey, what do you do? And I told them, like, oh my God, my girlfriend loves that show. Oh my God, can we take a picture? And that was cool. And then he was like, how do you come up with stuff? And I was basically talking about how my approach to reality TV predates reality TV. So it wasn't like I had these models of what hosts on these shows should look like. I kind of just, did what I do back in the day, and that was what is. Now I'm back doing the show again, and I just do what I do, which is to give the people on the show credit for being people instead of characters in this soap opera that's for your own guilty pleasure. That you get all the guilty pleasure, but I make the choice that the people on the show matter and their relationships are real, even when they're not real, even if they're snowing me. I make that choice, which then forces me into this kind of conversation that we're having today about the real things that tick in a relationship. And that's what makes it so weird on Temptation Island, because like I always say, it looks like porn and feels like Oprah. So as I was talking to these guys about it, it brought to mind, hey, what is your philosophy and where did it come from? So that you can kind of get centered on this so that when the new crop of people come, you have something to offer them. So that's how it all came up as I was shitting the bed on the golf course. And so let's make choices there. My story is I can never be a good golfer. And guess what? I'm making that true every time I play golf. So I wonder if we can apply this relationship stuff to other parts of our life, that maybe the only thing, and I know this is true because golf is such a metaphor, the only thing keeping me from being the golfer I say I want to be is that I keep saying I want to be instead of I am. Mm. That makes me want to run out right now and play golf. That's it, guys. This was like a brush up for me. I take the job. As you know, I both laugh at my existence as a reality TV host and feel like I get what it is, but I also take it really seriously. And those of you who've written to me recently and sent me emails about how what you've seen on the show has affected you and your choices in your relationship, I mean, that's not why I signed up for this, but that's why I'm still here. Why I signed up for this was to get paid by not lifting heavy objects and stay in a wheelhouse of a guy without a degree. What can he do to make a living? That's why I became a TV host, actually. Just happened. But why am I still doing this show? Why has it manifested in the way it has? It keeps coming back. Why have I stepped into the role that I have? I guess this is a purpose for me. I guess this fills me up. And the game for me that I love and am grateful to be able to do is to be in this manufactured kind of bullshit setting in a beautiful island and have people sitting across from me who may have come there simply to be television famous, but then to have a conversation that forces them to be real with me. And when I see the lights go on, when I see a shift happen, even a small one, when I see them experience something they may not have experienced before, that's the drug for me. That's what makes me light up. So thank you for letting me do that. If you keep watching the show, I get to do it some more. So watch my shit. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to go figure out the next step here. I'm going to lunch with some friends, as Robbie has told you. And I'm going to take Robbie's advice and leave you with Robbie's advice. The world is going pretty quick and pretty crazy. If I think about it too much, it makes me miserable. That doesn't mean I need to be complacent. That doesn't mean I don't need to be an activist. Doesn't mean I don't need to be a cause for change. But I can go easy in that process. That we can keep reminding ourselves all day long today to get back to this moment. That thing that we're trying to get to, that thing we're worried about that we just did, those don't exist. Get back to the moment. Take it easy. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Kaylin, anything you want to add?
That's it.
Thanks. You've been a lot of help today.
I feel naked without my camera.
I feel naked quite regularly. I had a dream about that recently. Yeah. We all have that dream. Do you have that dream? That you're like in school or on a show and you're
not for quite a while. I have a lot of I'm in a studio and my cameras aren't working and my audio's not working
and it happened today?
Everyone's relying on me, and then it happened today.
Today it happened. Yeah, okay. So maybe all of this is a dream. Maybe that's the lesson. All right, I hope something. Look, this was helpful for me. It may have been boring for you, but I'm asking you to take a look, and maybe there's one thing I said today that moves something for you, and then your day gets lighter, or your relationship gets stronger, or that your hope gets brighter. And that's what I'm hoping happens here. All right, tell your friends. I'll see you next time. Mahalo. That's Hawaiian.